Nkem had always been a source of strength for her, and in that moment, she felt a glimmer of hope. But even as she tried to hold on to that hope, the fear of what might come continued to gnaw at her. That night, as CHIDIMMA lay in bed, she found it difficult to sleep. The thought of rebels and bandits attacking her village filled her with dread. She tossed and turned, her mind racing with images of the chaos that might unfold. Suddenly, she heard a noise outside her window. It was faint at first, but then it grew louder, a rustling sound, followed by the faint clatter of something metallic. CHIDIMMA sat up in bed, her heart pounding. She strained to listen, trying to determine if it was just her imagination or something more. The noise came again, this time closer. It was followed by the sound of hushed voices, speaking in tones too low for her to make out the words. CHIDIMMA's blood ran cold. Someone was outside. Without a second thought, CHIDIMMA slipped out of bed and crept toward the window. She peered out into the darkness, her breath catching in her throat as she saw shadows moving near the edge of the compound. Her heart raced as she realized what was happening. Someone, or several someones, was trying to sneak into their home. Whether they were rebels, bandits, or something else entirely, she didn't know. But one thing was clear, they were in danger. CHIDIMMA quickly turned and ran to her parents' room, her feet barely making a sound on the floor. She burst through the door, startling her mother and father awake. "Father! Mother!" CHIDIMMA whispered urgently. "There's someone outside. I think they're trying to break in." Udo was on his feet in an instant, his expression alert and focused. He grabbed a spear that he kept by the door for protection and motioned for Zora and CHIDIMMA to stay behind him. "Stay close," he whispered, his voice calm but firm. "We don't know who they are or what they want, but we must be ready." CHIDIMMA's heart pounded in her chest as they moved quietly toward the main door. She could hear the faint sounds of the intruders outside, and she prayed that they would be able to protect themselves. As they reached the door, Udo held up a hand, signaling for them to stop. He listened carefully, his eyes narrowing as he tried to determine how many intruders there were and where they might be positioned. Suddenly, there was a loud crash as one of the intruders kicked the door. Udo reacted quickly, throwing the door open and thrusting his spear forward. There was a grunt of pain as he struck one of the attackers, and the others scattered, shouting in alarm. CHIDIMMA's heart raced as she watched her father fend off the attackers with a skill and strength she had rarely seen. Zora stood beside her, a knife in hand, ready to defend their home if necessary. But before the attackers could regroup, a loud, commanding voice echoed through the night. "Stop! In the name of the king!" CHIDIMMA's breath caught in her throat as she saw a group of royal guards rushing toward their compound, their weapons drawn. The attackers hesitated, then turned and fled into the night, disappearing into the darkness. The guards quickly secured the area, making sure there were no more intruders. Their leader, a tall man with a stern expression, approached Udo. "Are you and your family safe, Udo?" the guard asked, his voice filled with concern. Udo nodded, though his face was tense. "We are unharmed, thanks to your timely arrival." "But who were those men? What did they want?" The guard's expression darkened. "They were rebels, part of a group that has been causing trouble in the kingdom. They are growing bolder by the day, and it seems they've decided to target those loyal to the king." CHIDIMMA felt a chill run down her spine. The danger they faced was real and immediate. The rebels weren't just a distant threat, they were here, in their village, targeting her family. "Thank you for your help," Udo said, his voice filled with gratitude. "We will stay on high alert." The guard nodded. "We'll be patrolling the area more frequently. If you see or hear anything suspicious, don't hesitate to call for us." As the guards left, CHIDIMMA let out a shaky breath, her heart still pounding from the encounter. She knew that the situation was only going to get worse. The kingdom was on the brink of war, and her family was right in the middle of it. But as she looked at her parents, standing strong and determined despite the danger, CHIDIMMA felt a renewed sense of resolve. They had faced the darkness before and had come out stronger. And they would do so again, no matter what the future held. The gathering storm. The attempted break-in at Udo's compound was a stark reminder that the kingdom was teetering on the edge of chaos. The next morning, the entire village of Umudike was buzzing with talk of the attack. People gathered in small groups, their faces etched with worry, as they discussed what had happened and what might come next. CHIDIMMA felt the weight of everyone's fear and anxiety pressing down on her as she moved through the village. She could see it in their eyes, the uncertainty, the dread of what the future might hold. It was a feeling she couldn't shake, no matter how hard she tried. As she walked through the marketplace, she saw that the usual hustle and bustle had diminished. Vendors who would typically be shouting about their goods now spoke in hushed tones, and the lively chatter of the villagers had been replaced by anxious whispers. It was as if the entire village was holding its breath, waiting for the storm to break. When CHIDIMMA returned home, she found her parents deep in discussion with Nkem. They were gathered around the table, their expression serious. "I've spoken with some of the elders," Udo was saying as CHIDIMMA entered the room. "They are worried. The rebels are becoming bolder, and there are rumors that they are planning to strike at the heart of the kingdom." Zora's face was tense. "What can we do to protect ourselves? The guards helped last night, but if the rebels decide to launch a full-scale attack, we'll need more than just a few men with spears." Nkem nodded in agreement. "We need to be ready for anything. The village needs to come together to form a defense plan. We can't just rely on the king's soldiers. We have to protect our own." CHIDIMMA listened, her heart heavy with the weight of their words. She knew they were right. The threat was real, and they couldn't afford to be complacent. But the thought of having to fight for their lives, to defend their home against their own people, filled her with dread. "What about the other villages?" CHIDIMMA asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Are they preparing too?" Udo sighed. "Some are, but others are in denial. They don't want to believe that things could get worse. They think that the king will somehow restore order before it comes to that. But we can't take that chance," Nkem said firmly. "We have to be ready." Zora reached out and took CHIDIMMA's hand, squeezing it gently. "We will do everything we can to protect our home, CHIDIMMA. But we must also be smart. We can't let fear cloud our judgment." CHIDIMMA nodded, drawing strength from her mother's words. She knew that they had to stay strong, no matter what. The safety of their family and their village depended on it. The next few days were a flurry of activity as the villagers began to prepare for the worst. Udo and the elders organized a series of meetings to discuss the defense of Umudike. Men and women alike were assigned roles, from gathering supplies to setting up lookout points around the village. CHIDIMMA was given the task of helping to organize the younger villagers. She worked closely with Nkem, who had taken on a leadership role in the village's defense efforts. Together, they trained the youth in basic self-defense, teaching them how to protect themselves and others if the need arose. At first, CHIDIMMA found it difficult to focus. The idea of having to fight, to possibly harm another person, was something she had never imagined. But as she saw the determination in the faces of her friends and neighbors, she knew she had no choice. They were all in this together, and they had to be ready.